America waited out World War II's last tense hours. At the White House, President Truman, State Secretary Burns, and Cordell Hull stood by for the momentous surrender message from the Japanese. Radio men, sound and camera crews of worldwide newsreels kept vigil with Washington reporters. Then, after tantalizing hours of rumors and guesses, came the President's historic announcement, August 14th, 1945.
I have received this afternoon a message from the Japanese government in reply to the message forwarded to that government by the Secretary of State on August 11th. I deem this reply a full acceptance of the Potsdam Declaration, which specifies the unconditional surrender of land. In the reply, there is no qualification.
The greatest news story of all time, final unconditional surrender with the whole world waiting to celebrate. The victory flash electrified Times Square, keyed to the bursting point as the magic word of complete surrender came through. It was the long-awaited moment, and the lid was off. Unparalleled were the scenes as multitudes surged around Miss Liberty, throwing restraint to the winds. The world's mightiest city marked the end of World War II in one tremendous shout of joy and gladness.
Well, my name is Robert W. McDonald. I served the United States Army Air Force from January 1943 to March 1946.
My name is Nicholas DeBenedetto. I was born January 3rd, 1925. I was drafted January of 35.
My name is Melvin Reese. I'm 86 years old and was drafted in June of 1945.
My name is Milt Kuzman, 91 years old. I enlisted in the Army in 1942, went overseas in 1943.
Nick Hale entered the Army in February 1943, right out of high school. The division went into Normandy on D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. I was part of the division that was assigned to Nuremberg war crimes trials.
My name is Kate Nolan. I was a member of the Army Nurse Corps. I served from 1943 to 1946. I was with the 53rd Field Hospital, and we were in all 5 major battles on the continent, from Normandy to the Rhineland. We were not expected to have a good survival rate, but we did. We had 97%. It was the most satisfying nursing that I ever did in my life. My generation was the generation of the Depression. We grew up through the Depression and lived for better times, but we really had a great love for our country.
My name is David Friedlander. I served in the Army from December 10th, 1942 until January 11th, 1946. I was basically serving in London and Paris with the Signal Intelligence Division headquarters, East American European Theater of Operations, USA. We broke codes, we intercepted the German transmissions, and I was in cryptographic maintenance. I went to places like many air corps bases, American Embassy, Eisenhower's headquarters, OSS headquarters, and any place that needed help.
My name is James Helms. I was in the Army Air Corps from 1942 to 1945. I was a prisoner of war for 19 months in Stalag 17. I'm happy to be alive. I was one of 4 survivors of a crew of 10 when our bomber was blown up over the target.
My name is Jack Pointer. I'm 88 years old this year. I served in the Army, the 100th Infantry Division in the European Theater. We landed in Marseille in 1944, came up the Rhone River Valley to Dijon, Lyon, over into the Vosges Mountains, and over to the Rhine River, where we spent the winter of 1944-45 trying to take a town called Bitch. It took us 3 months to accomplish that, and when we got done, we were known as the Sons of Bitch. I am honored when you call me a son of bitch.
My name is Peter Thomas. I'm 89 years of age. I joined the Army as a volunteer in May 1943. My parents came from Europe, and they told us when we were young, you live in the greatest country in the world. Be grateful. Give back to your country. And I think that's what I'd like to say to the young people today. I'll never forget, a lot of times the Germans, you see them walking down the street surrendering, and you ask them, why did you surrender? We lost our commander. Well, that wouldn't happen in America. They were the greatest soldiers I ever knew.
My name is Don Talon. In 10 days, I'll be 89 years old. I was drafted into the Army in 1943. I had over 100 days in combat. We got near the German border, and my company, a lead company, was cut off and surrounded and captured. We had to work in the fields every day because we were ordinary ground troops, not associated with the Air Corps and so forth. And we worked 6 days a week.
My name is Rachel Klein, and I joined the Waves in 1943 and served as secretary to W.H.P. Blandy, who was in charge of procurement of armor, armament, and ammunition for all U.S. naval vessels. I also had the pleasure of being in Times Square the night we declared peace, and I thought that was the last war that would end all wars.
My name is Charlotte Carr, and I was in the Waves during the war on Treasure Island, San Francisco, and I took my discharge when my husband returned from overseas. He was in Iwo Jima.
My name is Leo Geller. I'm 89 years old, and I got my draft notice, and I appeared at the draft board, and they asked me what my choice was, Army, Navy, or Marines. I chose the Army, but they told me, we're sorry, but we need men for the Navy today. I soon found out I was part of the Seabees. The Seabees became an important part in winning the war against Japan, and in January 1946, I received my honorable discharge.
I'm Stan Thompson. I've served in the Navy aboard a destroyer, Okinawa to the various islands, and I could see all the devastation that was caused by war.
My name is Walter Stockwood. I joined the Navy in the beginning of '43 and served to '46. And after the war, we went to Shanghai, and they told me I had enough points to come home. And I said, how am I coming home? They said, on a transport. And I said, no way. So I stayed on the Biscayne until we got orders to come back to the States and decommission the ship.
My name is Roy Linsenmeyer. I enlisted in the Navy V5 program in Forest Hills, Pennsylvania. I was selected from Camp Parks to participate on the Naval Board of Investigation for the explosion of the 2 ammunition ships at Port Chicago, California, which killed like 320 sailors and civilians and injured another 370 more.
I'm Joseph A. Richards, was in the 691st Army Engineers that was assigned to the Burma Road construction and returned in April of '46.
My name is Pappy Wagner, U.S. Marine Corps, 44, 45, and 46. I was on Guam and Iwo Jima. I was forward observer for naval gunfire on Iwo Jima. There was 5 in my unit. There was 2 of us walked away from Iwo.
My name is Tim Rudd. It's an old Viking name, which doesn't mean a damn thing. But I served in the U.S. Marine Corps, World War II, and I also served in Korea, 1950, and I served in Vietnam for 2 years. I was wounded in each one of these activities. Iwo Jima is difficult to talk about for me in a lot of ways. But it was a moment in time. In a certain part of Iwo Jima, the steam came up like something out of Dante's Inferno. It was a place where you could carve a hole with your pickaxe or whatever you have and put a ration in a can, and in 30 seconds it was heated. It was the only hot food that we had.
My name is William Van Dungen. I served in the United States Navy from 1947 to 52. Was operator of an LCM troop transport to and from the beaches of Korea.
Harry Balzert, served in Korean 52 to 54. Ended up on Okinawa for 18 months.
My name is James Peter DiCarlo. My rank was Chief Warrant Officer 4, and I served in the China-Burma-India Theater of Operations.
My name is Alice Cabzeda, and I went to Boston to serve in the service. And I had many duty stations, so many that I thought for a while that they didn't want me. And then I went to Japan, and I stayed in Japan about 10 months, and then I went to Korea, and I served in a MASH unit, unlike the one on the television.
My name is Evelyn Viebeck. I joined the United States Marine Corps 1952, November. I served for 3 years until 1955, and also drove a staff car for funerals in Arlington Cemetery.
My name is Donald G. Thomas, and I was served in the U.S. Army for 2 years, and I'm proud to be a member of Grace Lutheran Church because we play the taps across America.
My name is Steve Shore, that's S-H-O-R-E. Enlisted in the Army in 1946, and I served through 1952.
My name is Armand, A-R-M-A-N-D, last name Pepper, P-E-P-P-E-R. I joined the U.S. Army December 15, 1941, at the age of 16. I was kicked out 9 months later for being underage, went back in 1942, and served in the Pacific till 1944, and was rotated home. We landed on, I was with the 41st Infantry Division with MacArthur.
I'm Shirley Hansen, and I served in the Coast Guard spars, and I was stationed in Seattle, Washington at a discharge center. So it was a happy place. They were getting separated from the service, and I always thought of it as a menial level job, but as it turns out, it really was an honor to serve my country.